In today's world, the bully doesn't get enough punishment, but the bullied gets, a whole lot of pep talks. Sorry about that. The bullied gets a whole lot of apologies. But what about the bully? When it comes to racism, they've said try and get more education out there, try and educate these people more about the blacks, about black culture, try and educate them about the stereotypes. If you notice the whole paradigm, the bully doesn't get education. He doesn't get education. We've tried to speak, we've tried to protest, we've tried to say a whole lot of things. It doesn't work. Even most of our most influential black men in Africa and in Africa America have tried to get into their big rooms. The racism doesn't stop, it still persists. So I ask, how do we stop the racism? Now, I have come up with a very short template that I want you guys to work with me, because the previous templates did not work. The protest, the education, the dialogue, the alliance, even acquiring wealth didn't work. So what will work? Now guys, I have come up with a few steps that we can use, and I'm going to be very straightforward in this video. If you are just joining us for the first time, my name is HRM, and here we are discussing a whole lot of experience, a whole lot of conversations a whole lot of dialogues that can liberate the black mind. Guys, this is not a time for us to start reminiscing and dwelling so much about our past. The past where you think you were a pharaoh or you were an Egyptian, the past where you think you were a Hebrew or a Jew. Guys, it is beautiful to think about these things, whether they are verified or not. They are beautiful. It is beautiful to want to, associate yourself with a noble ancestry, with a noble history. That's fine. But guys, the future we are moving into right now would not forgive us if we keep dwelling in the past. It is beautiful to use this little history, to pump up your self-esteem. But we need to move forward. The world is moving. AI, artificial intelligence, a whole lot of superpowers in the world are moving. We can't keep sitting in one place and keep saying black is beautiful, black is proud. Those self-affirmations are beautiful, but they cannot get us what we want. All parts of the world right now, there is racism against the blacks, and nobody is giving the proper explanation. They are only telling the blacks, maybe you should tone down. No, we shouldn't be the one adjusting. If the Western world claims to be the learnable guys, the most educated guys, the most enlightened guys, they should be the one adjusting. Now guys, number one, how do we stop the racism? Very first recommendation here on my list, I said, we must get our politics and our leadership right. When we get our politics, our leadership, I'm going to show you guys a proper strategy on how to do this. How do we get our leadership right, number one? You see, the biggest problem, if you want to scatter a people, sow division. If you want to scatter a people, sow division. Just make it look like they are divided. It's impressive to see. It's okay to have petty banters. It's okay to have petty arguments. Oh, you're Black American. Oh, you are light skinned. Oh, you are African. Oh, you are Kenyan. Oh, you are Nigerian, Cameroonian. All those little petty talk is fine because everybody in the world does it. The Australians are, petty with the British are petty with the Americans, Germans, Italians. That's fine. But here is where they draw the line. When they want to quest for world domination, they all call themselves Caucasians. They all call themselves whites. You see where the whole alignment is coming from. When it comes to world domination, look at how they won the World War II. Alliance, they came together. We can't make that mistake. It's fine. Make those petty talks about Black America, light skin, blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to our power as a race, our superpower as a race, we have to think like one. Our leadership also has to be that way. Our leadership has to be one. The politics has to be gotten right. Let me explain. Now, the politics is where the decision making happens. You can't afford to get the politics wrong here. Now, when I mean politics, I mean selfless leaders that will look beyond tribe, leaders that will look beyond nepotism. You see, It is a very huge challenge, especially in places like Africa and African America. Having leaders who are selfless, that would not think about their pockets. Leaders who will think about the race, the ideals of the race. You see, when you have, let me give you a quick example. The African Union is a confederacy. All African countries are coming together to become one. To have a union, just like the European Union, just like the United Nations, something like that. Imagine all of the leaders in these countries are selfless, meaning whatever they do, the black man is at the head of their policy making. The black man is at the center of their policy making. Let me give you a quick example. In the European Union, a whole lot of education, especially tertiary education, is free. Do you know why they do that? All their leaders are selfless to the race. The leaders think about the white race, the European race. So if you're about to school right now in most European countries, guess what will happen? They will say, if you check their requirements, they'll say things like EU citizens are allowed to not pay school fees, are allowed to not pay tuition. Non-EU citizens, you see, they have treaties, they sit together, these guys, forget their petty differences. When it comes to making policies to further their race, to further and advance their race, especially when it comes to things like education and military strength, these guys come together, they align, they throw out all petty banters. So guys, for Africa, America, for the black race, those petty banters must remain petty. But let us move forward. When it comes to choosing leaders, we must choose leaders who are selfless. Please do not just choose leaders who have money. Money is important, but the mind is also here. Because most battles today are won in the mind first. So, number one, we need to choose the selfless leaders. You see, our politics also has to be, our political structures. Most of us copy the whole of the democracy from the West. But that democracy, is it really democracy? We copy these models and try to use them in African countries and how we run ourselves, even though most of them came through colonialism. But the colonial guys are gone. They've gone. Most countries in Africa are independent now. What is going on? Why are we refusing to review and restructure the political structures? Why are we refusing to review them? You see, a whole lot of the constitutions that are still working in African countries were copied from Western countries. It will not favor the black man. It can never favor the black man. So what should you do? Go and review your constitutions. Go and review how you select leaders. You see, the constitutions that were existing before the white man, while the white man was colonizing Africa, oppressing and, having slave trade in places like America, the constitutions that were to serve them, not to serve the black man. Colonial Africa had constitutions serving the black or the white man as the upper class, as the ruling class. Guess what happened? When they left Africa, they handed Africa to a group of new African individuals. These guys were just basically, maybe should I call them puppets? But they were just guys who were serving their own. They were the new colonial masters, even though they were black. They were the new slave masters, even though they were black. So, when we want to select leaders, it is important that we review our politics. Review how we work politics. Review your constitution, African people. Pick selfless leaders. Selfless leaders who will go into the United Nations meetings and make better, reasonable decisions, policies. They will not just borrow loans. They will not just make laws. They will not just hand over the country's resources to foreign miners, to foreign exploration companies. Most of you had them in your countries, Africans. Most of you had a whole lot of these African leaders. But guess what? You allowed the Western media turn them against you. Or turn you against them. You started seeing them as, they didn't like human rights, blah, blah, blah. Is America the custodian of human rights? That is what you should ask yourself. If America is truly the democratic country they claim to be, or the democratic nation, why haven't they given the blacks their democracy? A whole lot of violence against the blacks. I think you guys think America is the custodian, the perfect model, the saint of freedom. But guess what? There are many allegations on the American government on interfering, intruding on many countries' sovereignty, and lots of allegations on the American government. Is America the model of democracy? No. Because if they were, they won't be intruding. They will really be. Are they really freeing these countries for democracy's sake or for personal interest? You see, what America has done with its politics over other superpowers is that America backs its politics with a whole lot of publicity, PR, media publicity. A whole lot of people will have you believe today that America is the savior of the world. Why? Propaganda, programming your minds. So they are the ones that control the media, yes, but nobody stops the African countries from doing the same. I don't blame Russia for having its own propaganda systems. While a whole lot of you think Putin is a demon, the Russians may see him as God. Who do Africans see as God? Are you guys following the thread of thought right now? If you really want to fix this, teach yourself to pick selfless leaders. Teach yourself to be selfless leaders first. That is what we have to do together. It has to be a collective process. Let us review our political structures. What we are doing, is democracy really the democratic system that they claim to be pushing down and forcing down a whole lot of countries' truths? Is it really democracy? Because a democracy that thrives on the wealthy is not democracy. How many people are really rich in Africa? How many people? You see, what this democracy is claiming to be doing right now is just reiterating existing colonial systems. The upper class were the colonial rulers when there was colonial regime. They left. Who took over? The wealthy guys in Africa took over and started ruling. That is not democracy. And the poor are forced, the poor majority, because as much as you want to think it, there is still a whole lot of poverty, there's still a whole lot of disenfranchisement, because people are forced to choose and elect leaders from a selected few. And who are the few? They are the wealthy guys, pushing personal interests, forcing a whole lot of foreign international companies, multi-international companies to come and mine our resources. In Black America, for example, you expect similar things as well. How much of the black wealth is serving the black people? That is why we need to have selfless leaders, because when they're at the table, they think about their people first, not about themselves. It's not about getting into the table or getting to the table. It's not about that. It's not about getting on the table with these guys. What will you do when you get there? So we need to review our politics. Maybe democracy is not for Africa. It's all right. Or maybe we need to review the version of democracy we've adopted. It is utterly all right. You see, when it comes to leadership and politics, a whole lot of things are dependent on. I'm still going to get there. But I'm letting you guys know that the leaders we pick will determine the kind of economic policies we'll make. They will determine if foreign oil companies will come and steal our oil wealth and use them anyhow. They will determine if, when there's a pandemic outbreak, that the resources created for hospital and health will be distributed properly. They will determine if they can make proper security policies that will affect your business. You can't keep choosing leaders based on ethnic sentiments and funny, petty sentiments. You can't do that, guys. There is a whole lot bigger than us right now. It's bigger than you and I. It's a race thing. Because guess what? If you have leaders who are smart and intelligent, when there is racism in any country, those countries are getting sanctioned. Because, of course, why? There is a union of African intelligent leaders who have said, we are sanctioning so and so country for doing this to our brother, for doing this to our sister. All those policemen kneeling and putting their neck, choking black men, they will stop. They will stop. You think they can't stop? They will stop because their resources are at stake. Many of them have a whole lot of multinational companies, multinational units and branches in Africa. You think they will not stop when there are sanctions? It is because they are empty threats. There's nobody thinking about the black race. We need to put in those leaders, guys. Talking about politics, I am going to build a whole lot of things under this politics. You see how politics is important. But number two, how do we stop racism? Number two, let's start with education and research. You see, educating the black mind is important. Please, I don't just want us to talk about history. I don't want us to talk about entertainment only. That is not what we are. That's not the only thing we are good at. Black people, the black race is innovative. The black race is experienced. There is a whole lot of wealth of knowledge. Not just the black mind, in Africa, in the black space alone, there's a whole lot of wealth of experience, but they are undermined. These things are undermined, they are not used enough. See, I am not saying the Western education is bad. No. In fact, for you to be a superpower, you need to learn to be fluid. You need to learn to be flexible. You need to learn from a whole lot of. That's why the American civilization is very big and keeps expanding. It claims to be liberal when it comes to stealing or taking. It's very generous in taking and learning here. From here, learning. They are very, very observant. But guys, for you to build a black civilization, you cannot despise education and research, because that is how civilizations move forward. If Africa was invested, you see, when different regions, different civilizations invest in education and research, the human race is advanced further. Who told you that Elon Musk is the only one who can go to Mars? Who told you the time period he's set to go to Mars, who is the only one? What if there were alternative researchers who were researching, who were investing a whole lot of research in the human, space expedition? Who knows where it would be? You see, the beautiful thing about research, it is the quickest way to advance the mind and the race. That is what research can do, guys. So, I'm not saying we should not invest in entertainment. I'm not saying we should not invest in having a whole lot of rappers, musicians, singers, movies, but that is not all we are. These places are not decision-making places. Yes, they are good for money, but we need to be at the table, not just at the table of other people, our own table. When a people put education and research first, knowledge reigns supreme. Knowledge to be superior reigns supreme in these places, in these circles. So we cannot despise education. I am not saying, like I said earlier, it is okay to learn the Western education, learn other things, but I think the Western style of learning, the Arabian style of learning are beautiful. What about the African style of learning? Who knows, maybe it could have found the cure to HIV if it was invested in more. Who knows if we could have found the cure to cancer if it was invested very properly. So, it is important that we find ourselves thinking this way. Let's leave these petty bands. You see, some of these petty bands come from self-hatred, talking about light skin, African American, they don't like themselves, blah, blah, blah. Those things are divisive thoughts. We can't move forward that way because they are still much. It is okay to have those kind of conversations, but they should not reign supreme. They should not be the priority. They are petty. When we invest in research, military research, our military will be stronger. Food production will thrive. The economy will boom. You will have intelligent people, intelligent professors advising our leaders. Not professors that are, helping corrupt leaders steal wealth. Helping corrupt leaders steal the people's mandate and rig elections. No. I'm talking about intelligent research that helps you advance the black mind and the human race altogether. When you have other countries sending their people down to you to learn, to your universities, to your colleges to learn, that means you're doing something right. But how can you do this if you don't have the proper leaders who think black first? Think black first. And we are the ones that must be the leaders. You see, the more we wait for other people, somebody has to be the leader, and that is us. Everybody has to have the leadership mindset. Don't you notice how these racist guys champion their racist cause? Each of them a leader of a racist cause. So you also have to be a leader of the black mind, of the black knowledge. Then imagine black being humanity. If you Google a man right now, there are chances that you see a white man. Even algorithms are thought to be racist. Because if you allow a race define the future of mankind, that race will be the face of mankind. If you allow a race define the future or determine the future of mankind, that race will be the face of the future and the face of mankind. And guess what? Other races will follow. It means, and guess what? When there was a whole lot of Russia and Ukraine clash, a whole lot of people complained about how blacks living in these regions were discriminated against. You know, all of them were scampering for safety, trying to move into the neighboring country called Poland. The Polish guys were being racist. They don't want blacks first. They want all the white guys to move in first. Imagine we had intelligent leaders, intelligent African leaders doing better. And I don't want people to be in the comment sections crying and leaving self-hate comments. Solution is the way. Stop trying to. I know I'm bringing out some problems, but you should move with a solution-based mindset. Now that we have raised the complaints and pushing out the solutions here for us to thrive, to raise ourselves, reign supreme. These models can also be implemented in Black America as well. Find leaders, bro. I've seen a lot of beautiful comments about, a lot of Black Americans trying to say we need land, we need to start our own government and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that is beautiful. But imagine you had alliance with powerful African countries. You can't do it alone, guys. That is why I'm advocating for everybody. I'm not just thinking about one person. Most of you seek for self-governance in Black America, for example. Imagine you had funding from Ghana, you had funding and military strength from Nigeria, military strength from Egypt, if they are really claiming to be Africans as well. Because I've heard a whole lot of turbulence about people in that region claiming to not be African. I mean, not Africans. So, that is one of the ways, educational research. We have to be thinking. The black mind is not solely made for entertainment and sports. Those are stereotypes. They are intentionally classifying and categorizing us to be people of no decision making. That's not who we are. We are more than that. So I want you guys to know that while the people in Africa and in Black America are claiming to be descendants of the original Jews, descendants of the Egyptian pharaohs, please remember that there is a future where we have to reign supreme. And that future will not come if we are still self-hating our color, if we are still self-hating our hair, if we still detest a whole lot of things about us. No. Let me give you guys a third one quickly. The third one here is investing in economics and production power. You see, economics. I'm going to attack a few African researchers and professors here. A whole lot of African currencies are very weak. They have poor buying power. A whole lot of African economic systems are also low. They are weak. But when I ask them why, they say, well, they give funny explanations. Most of them they give textbook answers. Most of Africa's problem do not necessarily have to be. If you were taught by a white professor who has never even understood Africa's economic problem, you as a black professor, you don't need to regurgitate whatever the black professor and white professor taught you. He's possibly analyzing Africa's problem based on Europe, industrial age, and blah, 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 and America. That is not the kind of economic solutions we need, dear black professor and black intellectual. Please, it is beautiful that you have been taught and you have, flourished with Western education. But sometimes it's important that you know that the African problem, the African economic problem is unique. It may not necessarily be solved by Western academics. Are you getting the point? Why is it that African currencies are weak? Why are there economic issues bankrupting the nation? A whole lot of them tend to give a whole lot of economic textbook solutions. They say things like, they are not producing so well. America's currency, the dollar, is not backed by real gold. It's backed by military. But why is their currency still supreme if it is not backed by real gold? African researchers, African intellectuals, please, I don't want to be hearing all these things. If you want to give proper solutions, don't just pick textbook methods, just see whatever your white professors or the white authors of these textbooks have taught you. Security is a very big problem in Africa. Yeah. Security, because you have politicians, you have a whole lot of people moving with self-interest, trying to champion different causes. So the economy will not work. Farmers cannot produce very well if there is no security because they are scared for their lives. Transporters who transport food with logistics are scared for their lives because of security. If you elect the wrong leaders, their political rivals will ensure they sponsor terrorism to frustrate the economy. You see that the African problem is unique. If you have foreign powers, Western powers, who have interest in Africa, if there's a new governance, if there's a new government coming in that they don't like, there are chances that they will also sponsor a whole lot of things to stop that government. So African economics should think smartly. Stop giving me textbook answers, guys. Stop just telling me textbook answers like, well, the reason Africa is the way it is because of this and that and that. Look at the problem, bro. A whole lot of things are happening with our resources because we have the wrong leaders who are selling us out. Just say the truth, bro. Stop this textbook answers you're giving me. Because if you say the people should produce more, who is securing this produce to ensure that nobody is stealing them and recording them? Corruption. Hope they're not looting the produce. Hope they're not looting the reserve, the government reserve. You may ask me how these things connect to racism. But you see, let me explain. When we have a superpower, when we have a nation that is powerful, everybody gets scared of touching their race. Do you want to kill a Chinese citizen? Do you want to awaken the wrath of China? Do you want to kill a Russian citizen? Do you want to incur the nuclear wrath of Putin? Americans? There's America. There's Britain. Who stands for Africa? I'm letting you know that these solutions are building blocks. If we don't get each of these solutions right, we can't stop racism because we will not be that power. And all we'll be tied to begging, please don't kill our people, or please, do you want us to educate you more? Okay, let's do more campaigns, anti-racist campaigns. Nobody cares about that. Because the bully will only be scared when he knows he can be checkmated. But if you try to dialogue with the bully, there is a power contrast. This is the bully. This is you. You don't have the resources. You don't have the military strength. You don't even have the economic strength, the research to build better military weapons so that you can be scared, so that you can be here as well. So whenever you come with dialogue, please stop hating blacks, stop doing this. They will still be like, well. Okay, we'll see what we can do. Probably arrest a few killer police officers, probably sack a few staff who are racists. But guess what? They are still here. But imagine if you are together. Guys, see the difference. They will bow. So guys, we need to think. Another thing here again, I want to discuss. The fourth one, we need to, is a bit sensitive. I'm going to talk about religion. We need to invest properly in our religious and propaganda systems. You see, religion is very powerful because the African mind is very spiritual. He's ritual in his living. If you teach an African man or a black man one thing, he keeps reusing that system. Look at how the black guys talk. Look at how they do their things. They are unique. If you introduce something, they keep using that stuff, passing it down from generation to generation. Christianity was passed to them. They are running very hard with it. The only problem is that they took it hook, line, and sinker. When the white man got Christianity, what did he do? He whitewashed it. He turned Jesus into a white man. Turned all the saints into a white man. Guess what? He took this religion from where? From the Middle East. Brought it to Rome, whitewashed it, and made Jesus a white man. Guys, even the Islamic religion also is not noble to the black man. It is what? Accountable and loyal to the Middle East. It is not for us. So if we will adopt these religions that will put your black mind to be number one, you need to also review it. Don't just take everything. Maybe make your Jesus black, I don't care. Do whatever you want to do. But ensure that that religion is not asking you to convert into something else. It is not asking you that you have to be white as snow before you become heavenly. Because how do you pray to a white Jesus to save you from your white slave master? How do you do that? How do you pray to a white God, to a God who looks different? It is a failure of the propaganda system, of the black propaganda system. If you don't, I love what the Nation of Islam has done anyway. If you don't take a religion and remold it to be a weapon of the state or a tool of the state, the religion will destroy the state. Yeah, take it from me. If you don't take religion to be a tool of the state, to be a weapon of the state, so that the state can use it properly to build a race, to build a generation of intelligent people who are black focused, religion is going to bring the race down. It's going to make the people docile, make the people passive, make the people weak. It'll make the people delusional as well, because they'll find it so difficult to separate spirituality from physicality. Israel is fighting its wars with what? Weapons. The Middle East, Iran, Iraq, all of them, most of these places where Islam came from, they are not calling on their God. Remember what they are doing? They are fighting their wars with what? Weapons. Why are the blacks calling on their God, for Christ's sake? Why are they not building military strength? You see where the problem is, right? We need to build proper religious and propaganda systems. You may not like it, but you see, the reason why the Russian Empire is as strong as it is today is because they have a propaganda system. You may not like it. You may think, well, that's an American lie. America feels every country outside of it is suffering from human rights, dying of starvation, except the almighty America comes to save it. Not every country wants American civilization. And that doesn't make them bad. America has done a very beautiful job with this publicity. I need to give it to them. America can sell anything. America, to some people right now, is a savior in shining armor. It has Jesus. So it has its dollar, free currency. It has its entertainment, it has its media, shining armor, civilization. Everybody wants to be saved by America. And guess what happens? America is able to perpetrate a whole lot of behind the scenes control because of these, their perfect mastery of illusion. They know how to give people illusion. They know how to sell illusion. They give a lot of black people wealth, money, riches, but you would never be on the table to talk about decisions. And even if you be at the table discussing decision making, you'll be giving maybe just 1% of the 100%. And before you know, they cancel you if you misbehave. Look at Kanye West. It is what it is. Look at a whole lot of African leaders, wealthy billionaires who can't speak too much. But Elon Musk can do everything. He can see everything. And he's almost heading to $1 trillion. So what are we saying here, ladies and gentlemen? We need to rebuild our religion. I am not saying you should not believe in a living God. I am not saying you should not believe in a God that took Israel from Egypt or blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying you should not do that. I am saying ensure the religion is not making you lose yourself and hate your skin. If the religion is telling you to convert to something else, to be something else, before you are accepted to this God, or before you are accepted by this God, that religion is going to kill you. That religion is never for you, black man. Simple and short. And if we do not have a propaganda system, just the way America has its own, because I mean, America has done a successful propaganda of Africa as well. Africa is poor, Africa is starving, Africa is a place, Africa is a continent, Africa is a monolith, black people are violent. These are stereotypes that many countries are learning from. Africa needs to have its own propaganda. What is our propaganda machinery? What are we using to spread information? Not just about our history, that we are of great warriors. Nah, bro, we need to move forward. China has TikTok, and I heard they are doing a whole lot of powerful things with the algorithms, with the AI. The battle of these days is not about weapons. It's for your mind. It's for your data. It's for your numbers. So, our propaganda system has to be strong. A whole lot of African leaders tried it and they were killed by their people. They were lynched by their people because the media turned their people against them. Oh, you are trying to kill us, human rights. Anytime you want to fix something in Africa, people are coming against you saying you are trying to be tribal, you're trying to dominate, you're trying to kill us, human right, blah, blah, blah. Before you know, the president is dead. That is why the African currency is still weakening, falling apart. A whole lot of different superpowers meddling into Africa's business. And the leaders are there because why? The people chose them wrongly, chose them on personal sentiments. Imagine me choosing a leader because he's from my tribe, or he's from my ethnicity, or because he's light skinned. What is wrong? Blood of God. The last one, if I call it a wrap, is that we need to improve and intensify sanctions on countries that perpetuate racism. You see, the first 4 factors I have mentioned here are enough to make us a superpower if implemented well, if executed well. You know, it's important we also have a coalition of African nations, not just not a weak one. Look at the EU. The EU is powerful enough to give free education to its people. The EU is powerful enough to do a lot of crazy treaties and policy making. The African Union should have something like that as well. It should be the ambassador of the black people, the black culture. All that racism, imagine they're getting sanctioned by the African Union. Imagine they're getting serious sanctions. When George Floyd died, imagine how many, maybe serious warning was given to a whole lot of multinational, or they paid serious fines. It's because they are not paying. It's because they are not paying. It's because they are not paying for these losses. That's why they can do it. And nobody's checkmating them. Because even the people that are supposed to checkmate them are begging them for loans. Imagine African leaders flying all over the world, begging for the unnecessaries. This job, dear middle class black man, whether you are already educated, whether you've gone to college, or whether you are reading or studying, or you have wealth in your hands, don't get too comfortable. Start building yourself to be a leader and equipping other people. Please leave the internet banters for the internet. The comment section should not be a place where you are perpetrating hatred and things like that. It should be a place where you start discussing the evolution of your kind, the transformation of your mind. It should not be a place where you are being petty. I don't want to see any of those kind of comments, ladies and gentlemen. Sit yourselves down and let's discuss progress. Sanctions are very important. Sanctions. I mean, see the canceling. Selective cancellation. I mean, if you mess up right now, they cancel you. Imagine them getting cancelled by us. If we're powerful, if we knew our power and we stood together. I don't just want standing together only, because that is weak as well. Political. Coming together to build. Military strength is very important. People are building nuclear weapons. How many African countries have? You may say, well, war is not the way. Oh, shut up. War is not the way. What are you saying? You need to be strong, bro. If you're not strong, they're going to trample on you. Do you want to just go there to keep begging? Look at what happened to Ethiopia. Very powerful civilization that fell under one emperor like that. The Italians came and ravaged them again, and the whites were watching. The old Italian empire, while it was under a strong leadership, conquered Italy. But after some time, the Italians came back and ravaged the place again, under a weak emperor. Africa should not just be an empire where they're forming royalty, old kings, old queens. Nobody has time for that again. We need to evolve for the future. If that future must include us as decision makers, as a superior people, if we must end racism, we must be decision makers and we must be superpower. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is HRM and I'm rounding off here. Let me hear your thoughts. Let me hear your comments. We need to act. Yeah, I've not asked for subscription. We need to get this channel to 1,000 guys. Share this content with people that matter. Hit the subscribe button. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, because bro and sis, we need to make this work. Bless you.